Hey, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and we're in Blue Ridge, Georgia at Sycamore Crossing. We call it Small Town America starting up. You'll hear some noise in the background. Joining me now, Georgia Speaker of the House, Mr. David Ralston. Mr. Ralston, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Brian.
We can just sit out here all afternoon, couldn't we?
I think we will.
I'll tell you what, you just can't beat it here. When we're in your hometown, Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Yes, you are.
Let me ask you this. First of all, I told you in the break I have an admission of I may have made a mistake. I know that doesn't happen very often, Mr. Speaker, but last year you and I always do a post-legislative interview, and last year we talked about the upcoming session being a political season, and I looked at you and said, you know, this may be the toughest session you have to work through with all of these different people running for office. I think I may have been wrong, Mr. Speaker. I think the next one may be the water to try to wade yourself through that may be difficult.
I don't have memories of the past one being tough, but I have a feeling that the next one's going to be challenging. You know, we're about to go through a transformative period in Georgia. A new governor, a new lieutenant governor, other new state constitutional officers, every member of the state house, every member of the Senate's up for election this year. Already had some turnover in the primaries. Probably have a little more in November. So it's going to be a challenging session, and I'm frankly excited about it, though.
Well, when I say that is we knew several of the lawmakers that were down there for the past session would be running in the primaries, and I thought it'd be a little challenging with people trying to, I will say, politically posture for the election. But you're right. The last session did, as far as I was able to see, went fairly smooth. But let's talk about some things that are going on. I'll call it the off season, although it's not a sport. But when you're Speaker of the House and the legislative session ends, you still have things around the nation where other speakers get together. You've got things throughout the state. Give us a little report. We have a new, if I don't name it correctly, a new rural economic development home that's been set up. We have the interport. What is that called exactly? How do I?
Inland port.
Inland port that's been open. So many things that have gone on here in the last little bit. So give us a little report around the state of what's happening.
Georgia is truly the envy of the nation. In terms of growing jobs, in terms of growing its economy. And I think Georgians have a right to be proud of where we are as a state. As you mentioned, this past session went smooth. We were able to cut the income tax for the first time. We were able to fully fund K through 12 education for the first time. We appropriated funds for school safety. We passed another very important measure was a comprehensive reform of our adoption laws in Georgia. So we got a lot of good things going on, and you mentioned a couple of them. The Rural Development Council actually was created in the spring of 2017 by the House, and because I have a passion that the economic growth that we have enjoyed as a state needs to be spread out all over the state and not just limited or concentrated in the metropolitan areas. And so we put together this council. They have gone literally everywhere in Georgia. They've been in LJ, they've been in Blue Ridge. I think they're going to be in Dahlonega later in the year. To talk to local leaders, local educators, medical professionals, business owners, civic activists, to talk with them about what they feel like they need to grow jobs. Because I happen to believe that the kind of job you get in Georgia shouldn't depend on your zip code. that young people in Fannin County should have the same opportunities as young people in the suburb of Atlanta or in downtown Atlanta. And I couldn't be happier with the work that they've done. They have brought back measures on health care access, broadband, infrastructure, so many things. We passed a number of their proposals last session. I'm anticipating they will bring back additional proposals for next session. So it's gone so well that I'm kind of thinking about extending it. I'm very, very happy with it. You mentioned the Rural Development Center, which has opened down at Tifton now.
Yeah.
On the Abraham Baldwin campus, and that will house people who will then be out in the field and helping economic development initiatives in rural Georgia. There's only one problem. Tifton is a long way from North Georgia, and so I'm not going to rest until we have a satellite of that here in North Georgia. And I think you'll see some movement on that next session.
Well, obviously our representatives are supposed to be our voice, and I understand that. But what I like about a rural development center is we understand up here in Blue Ridge and other areas of the state, we understand Atlanta is there, and we get stuck in the traffic too when we have to go to Atlanta for business or entertainment or whatever. So we understand the challenges of Atlanta. But it seems like they have a very loud voice and in things where politics and legislation is concerned. And this, to me personally, as a resident of North Georgia, I feel more like now we have a bigger voice as rural Georgia with these rural development councils.
Well, there's no question. I think that rural Georgia had the best session it had ever had in the history of the state last session, and I want to top that next year. The voice is being heard, and I'm very, very happy about that, and I take a lot of pride in that because I'm rural Georgia. I grew up in LJ. I live in Blue Ridge. I understand the problems that we have here in terms of limitation on being able to bring jobs. So I'm trying to break down those barriers and trying to incentivize businesses to locate here. We're never going to have the smokestack kind of industries that employ hundreds of people, but you got so many success stories around these two counties of small businesses that started out with 1, 2, 3 people. Now maybe they have 15. That's progress. Agribusiness is a huge thing, and agribusiness is no longer row crops and poultry, even though that's still important. But now you have the fruit production, you have the wineries, so agritourism has become a destination that attracts people here. They spend money when they get here, and we want them to spend lots of money.
Well, we do have the challenges, and it doesn't matter where you're at. When you're growing, it creates challenges that you have to work through. And North Georgia, where we're sitting here, and this district, and we're growing rapidly. But some of the challenges we have now is affordable housing for the people that are getting the job. Right. So there are things like that are challenges. But if you're not having to face those challenges, then you're not moving forward.
That's right.
So I want to switch to politics. Does that surprise you?
Not with you.
Okay, let's switch to politics, because when I look at you, here's what I'm thinking. Okay, all right. There's the old saying is, don't get out there and write a check your blank can't cash. Okay, so there's all these political promises going on out there. as the speaker on the appropriation side of the House, we're appropriating funds, and we're just coming off a tax cut and trying to look at other ways to, cut spending at every session. Are you concerned with some of the political promises you hear out there? And can you shed light when we see a campaign and a candidate's out there saying Medicare for all, health care for all? Are you cringing in the background saying, I'm the guy that has to put this together? So, yeah, exactly. I mean, are you cringing at some of the things you hear out there and what the real cost is that the citizens of Georgia should know?
I don't know that I'd say cringing. I'm disappointed in that kind of rhetoric, because I think that builds up false expectations in people. And we could go. You went through part of the list. Medicaid expansion is being discussed a lot, but it's not just the affordability part of Medicaid expansion. It is the fact that it doesn't really help those who think it will help them. And so the rhetoric is disappointing on that. The Hope Scholarship, for example, I see all these things that one of the candidates for governor is promoting, and what people forget. One of the greatest governors that in my lifetime was Zell Miller. And when Governor Miller instituted the Hope Scholarship, it was a visionary, groundbreaking scholarship program that became a model across the nation. But people forget that HOPE is an acronym, and that there's the letter H or letter O in there that means outstanding. It was never intended to be one size fits all. It's for everybody. It is for, it's a merit-based program, and I'm not saying that we can't create some needs-based programs, but if you tap into HOPE, then you're basically going to drain HOPE, and so nobody will get HOPE then. So you got Medicaid expansion, you got the HOPE Scholarship, and so then you ask the question, you mentioned the appropriations process. Well, how do they pay for it? Well, one of the candidates for governor has already told us how she will pay for it. She's going to take away the income tax cut that we gave Georgians this past session, because she believes she knows how to spend Georgians' money better than they know how to spend it. And I just totally disagree with that.
Do you see, I use the word cringe because out here, whatever happens, it rolls out here to our pocketbook, and the thought of the cost to me is just kind of scary to me of what's being promised out there with no money. And that's the reason I wanted to ask you, is because on the House side you do have the appropriations, and if these candidates are going to promise basically Hope Scholarship for everyone, Medicare for everyone expansion, Medicaid, Medicare expansion for everyone, and they're going to promise all of these things, it costs a lot of money.
Yes.
And are you concerned, and I want to dig down in here, are you concerned with if some things go, I'm going to use my words, the state has moved forward very well in so many areas. Are you concerned that if one party controlled the governor's mansion and another party controlled the legislative branches, that the state would be sitting in gridlock for several years?
I would hope not.
But is that a possibility that there could be gridlock?
Sure, it's a possibility, because the positions of both of the parties, as we sit here today in Georgia, are so totally opposed. I am not going to preside over a House and let legislation go through that weakens our Second Amendment rights, for example, which one of the candidates for governor wants to do. It's not going to do it. So we will have gridlock if she insists on trying to pass gun control measures. We will have gridlock if she wants to take away the tax cut. We will have gridlock on a number of these issues, because I will not let those go through the House.
Well, and but that's exactly what what I was thinking is I was for sure, without you saying it, that some of these promises are going to come to the House, and you're not going to pass them along to us, and you're not going to pass them along to the people of Georgia, which is going to cost money.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was thinking. Do you see? Let me ask you also, staying in politics, how concerned are you about some of the kind of money, influence, and media getting involved and turning our governor's race into a national race with many of the down ballot races to follow?
I'm very concerned. The Democratic Party in Georgia today is more energized, more organized, more unified, and has more resources than at any time in my memory.
Excuse me, we always have to pause for our Budweiser delivery here in Florida.
That's the economy.
Yeah, we sorry at this time, folks. Our Budweiser truck always goes through, so we have to wait for the air horse.
It's Labor Day weekend. I forgot your question.
No, my question is concerning about you. We're talking about Democrats being energized because I'm concerned about media, national media, and even Atlanta, but national media coming in and turning our governor's race with all the down ballot races. The reason I want to talk to you about it is because whoever wins the House and the Senate starts working with a whole new group of people.
I have talked with a number of friends around the state who have historically been Democrats in the sense that we knew people that were Democrats 25 years ago. They have yet to hear from the nominee of their party. The reason they haven't heard from her is that she is in Hollywood, she's in Manhattan, she's in Chicago raising money. I tell people she's already carried 2 precincts, Manhattan and Hollywood. She's won those 2 precincts. She is going to have an enormous amount of money. They're going to use that money to focus on get out the vote efforts, and hopefully we'll have time to talk about that. But I am concerned. I'm concerned that she's going to get a pass by the media. She is a historic candidate, and I get that. But she should be vetted, just like Brian Kemp is going to be vetted. The media should talk about her positions, where she is on the issues, just like they're going to do with Secretary Kemp. But I am concerned over the amount of money and all the other things that they have. As Republicans, we kind of have some bad habits within the family. We tend to divide up, and we tend to eat our own. I give them a distinct edge in terms of unity. And we're going to have to overcome that between now and November, or we're headed for a different kind of government in Georgia.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because let me say this, not to go backward on the conversation, but Democrats, and I say this because people watch this clear across the state, Democrats, they have basically in a game plan put a candidate in every district, every Senate race, every congressional race, and their goal is, I'm going to say maybe they know they're not going to win some races, obviously, but they still give a reason for Democrats to come out and vote or pull them out or get them energized. So I think that's the concern that Republicans just cannot ignore.
Absolutely. Republican voters, independent voters who are conservative and moderate are going to have to vote. They've got to take the time to vote. Because if you look at the margins of the 2010 race between Governor Deal and Governor Barnes and the 2014 race between Governor Deal and Mr. Carter, it's not beyond the realm to think that that gap can shrink with a heavy turnout among Democratic voters.
Tell me if you think I'm wrong, because I always say, looking back at Carter, and I forget the actual percent, but rounding it off there, I always say the Democrats are 5% away. They're 5.
No, that was the margin that
right.
They lost by.
Right, 5% away, and the Democrat has their base in the metro areas. They just have it. It's there. It's in rural areas where they field all these candidates. If they can just get another 100 people here to vote and another 300 here and 400 here, is where they could quietly do something if Republicans don't pay attention. And I'm not downing Republicans today, but am I correct, or am I on the right track?
No, you are correct, and you touch a very valid point. They can drive up their turnout, and it doesn't have to be by huge numbers. In 2014, they left 3 million of their voters at home.
Right.
The margin was less than 250,000 votes.
Exactly.
That's scary.
And what did we hear after 2012 is the 6 million Republicans that stayed home in the presidential race.
Exactly.
Right? That's what we heard.
Yeah.
Well, we have actually in a different, almost the same level on the state level of the Democrats that stayed home last time.
True.
And if they come out within the margins. So let me ask this, a couple more things before we go. You want to talk about get out the vote, and I want to make sure we have time for that. What comments did you want to make concerning that?
We have an obligation to vote in every election. Every election. This is a very, very important election. This will determine if we keep going in a winning path here in Georgia, if we keep growing our economy, if we keep adding jobs. The other thing is that we are now, Brian, 3 years out from redistricting. And whoever has the power at the Capitol during that process, as you know, will be able to draw the maps that will set the political power in Georgia for the next 10 years after that. Very important election. It's very important that people go vote. And people may say, well, you know, we're up here in the mountains and it's governor's race, and so, you know, that's happening somewhere else. No, it's not. It's happening in Blue Ridge. It's happening in LJ. It's happening in Dawsonville, and it's very, very critical that people go vote.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because it's not an exciting subject, but redistricting, and Amanda could tell you in the office, I've been yelling it. I know who the NDRC is. I know who Eric Holder is. I know who Common Cause is. I pay attention to read all their stuff. I know what they've done in North Carolina. I know what they did in Pennsylvania, and I try to tell people, a 1 mile shift in one direction, the 6th district will never be Republican again.
Correct.
Right? That's how important that is.
And probably less than a mile for the 7th district.
Exactly. So there's 2 districts right there. Not to mention state districts also. So I appreciate you saying the redistricting is very much something that people need to pay attention to of what's going on. I just know. Let me ask you one more question before we close. I'm going to close on this. You've worked with Governor Deal now for the last 8 years. Obviously, Governor puts together every year a legislative list of what they would like to achieve during the session. You take that, Senate takes it on their side, looks at how you can work that in, and see where will that work, what can you vote for. And you've been working with Governor Deal for 8 years. Tell me a little bit of your thought of what you're looking at working with someone new and hearing even Brian Kemp's agenda. All right, let's go there. You're hearing Brian Kemp's agenda, the Republican candidate. What are you looking at as far as the next session right now?
I have every indication that Brian Kemp is going to follow in a general way the economic policies of Governor Deal. He's going to be a conservative governor. He's going to focus on job growth. And I have not seen the specifics of his agenda, because I think right now their agenda is to win in November. And then they'll flesh out their agenda, which will include a proposed budget, by the way. I think that if Georgians appreciate the direction that Governor Perdue took us, that Governor Deal took us, then there's only one choice, and that's Brian Kemp. If they don't like what we've done in Georgia, if they don't like our conservative values, then they're going to have a choice. You know, somebody asked me the other day, have you seen any polls? And I said, no, I haven't seen any, but I think you'll start seeing them after Labor Day. And so they sort of said, well, what do you anticipate? I said, I think you can anticipate the lowest number of undecided voters that you will ever see in a poll. This is not about, you know, a lot of the elections people talk about are fought over that 10% of the voter in the middle. This is not that kind of race. You're either going to vote for Kemp or Abrams. This is a turnout race. This is who can get their people out to vote, not who can persuade undecided voters, because the choice is that clear. It's that clear from the legislative seats all the way up to the governor's mansion.
Let me ask one more question. I've been told before I don't know how to count. I'll say one more question and ask three, but this does come to mind. Stacey Abrams, the Democrat candidate for governor, we hear talk of sandblasting Stone Mountain. Up in Washington, D.C., we hear talk of wanting to change the name of a former governor and longtime Senator Richard Russell Senate building.
And Speaker of the Georgia House.
And Speaker of the Georgia House. Right, exactly. Richard Russell, Georgia House, governor, senator, right? Yeah, I got started around 1921, somewhere around there.
Sometime in the 20s.
Yeah, right. I read that. So they want to change. They want to change Richard Russell because the civil rights. Sandblast Stone Mountain. Are you concerned that the national media is trying to set up some divides, because she's an African American candidate, first female candidate for a major, would be the first governor, African American female governor in the nation? Are you concerned that they're trying to set that up in Georgia to divide the vote, the national media, some of the rhetoric, some of the media, to get that? Are you concerned about what could happen in the race where that's concerned?
I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned that that is very divisive, you know, you can take down every statue and monument in Georgia, and it doesn't take away the fact that slavery existed in the state. You can't rewrite history. As much as, and I know this may not be popular with everybody, but as much as I appreciated the service of Senator McCain and was saddened by his passing, I don't think we need to get in the habit of, you know, renaming things lightly. I never heard anything about anybody having an objection to the Russell Senate office building until this week.
Right.
Never was an issue. That office building was good enough for Senator Edward Kennedy from Massachusetts
to work in, exactly. But I find it interesting that he's from Georgia and this is fitting in there. Let me make a comment, because I won't ask you to, based on its local. But what concerned me is we have a rural county, and a lot of people nationally, which really angers me, they come into our state and they don't understand. We've got a lot of rural counties in South Georgia that actually do not have enough tax revenue to support their schools, support the services they need. And you look at recently a very rural county wanted to minimize their polling locations, and the media spun that right into a racial issue when realistically the county needs to financially do something. I'm going to say it. I will say it. Gilmer County, I live in it, and we've got something like 13, and I've often said, I mean, to save some money, maybe we need 9 or something like that. And I'm not saying, but every time you even say something that could be fiscally responsible, they turn it into suppressing the vote. Nobody's trying to suppress the vote.
Well, it's not just a financial issue. It's an issue that almost all of those polling places were not handicapped accessible. We are denying accessibility to people with handicaps by keeping many of those polling places in Randolph County open. But it was turned into a racial issue, which is very unfortunate. And I think much of that is driven by the fact that you got this glare from the national spotlight focused on this small rural county. Nobody was reporting very much that these are not compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. They're focused on the racial part of it.
Oh, what you just said, we would never hear in the news.
Yeah,
we'd never hear that. I've got to move along. We've got some other things this morning to do. We could sit here all day and visit, but you have any final comments or something we wanted to say?
I've just enjoyed being with you. Look forward to being with you again, maybe between now and November.
Okay, can you do me a favor? You know I always leave with this. If by any chance you talk to the president or his staff, right? Just,
I mentioned to Ivanka when I met her at the White House.
Just want to keep. Hey, listen.
She said she thought she had heard your name.
Okay. Wow. Amanda said we won't be able to put up with him all day. Trust me, I had the Wednesday. Congressman Doug Collins was on the show yesterday. Secretary of State Brian Kemp was on the show. Now, Speaker of the House of Georgia David Ralston. Don't think I didn't ask them all, so everybody talked. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for being here. We appreciate it. Hey, tough campaign season coming Tuesday. Get ready, but this is the place we'll be focused on it all the way to Election Day. We're going to take a break, and then it's time for North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton, Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall. I think I got that right. Did I get that right, Jesse? Right after this.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
The Tupelo Tea Mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's T-E-A-S. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
month at Dave's Chevrolet in Jasper, and we're giving you a payload of savings. Now save up to $13,000 off new Silverado Crew Cab LT. And with Dave's Payment Vacation, make no payments for 90 days. Or save up to $7,400 off new 2018 Chevy Equinox. It's truck month in the mountains. See Dave's Chevrolet in Jasper today. The North Georgia Mountains #1 volume Chevy dealer.
Better days ahead, Dave's Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
When I'm with you, baby, I go out of my head, and I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. All the things you do to me and everything you said, I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. We slip and slide as we fall in love, and I just can't seem to get enough.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers, and North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff. Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina. Blair.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
The Tupelo Tea mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's TEAS. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Truck Month at Dave's Chevrolet in Jasper, and we're giving you a payload of savings. Now save up to $13,000 off new Silverado Crew Cab LT, and with Dave's Payment Vacation, make no payments for 90 days. Or save up to $7,400 off new 2018 Chevy Equinox. It's Truck Month in the mountains. See Dave's Chevrolet in Jasper today, the North Georgia Mountains #1 volume Chevy dealer.
Better days ahead, Dave's Chevrolet.
Find new roads.